With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
From iRacing's virtual Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the season finale of the Precision Racing League Truck Series. Tonight, a 9-race 2025A championship comes to a close as we say goodbye to the Precision Racing League. There is an exciting championship on the line, and we're happy that you're spending your Wednesday evening with us. Our producer downstairs, as always, is Dustin Allis, and alongside Derek Watson, my name is Evan Pasoko. Derek, we come into this one on the heels of another first-time winner just a week ago in Reese Bogue, which has him in the top 3 in the driver championship. But here tonight, at the site of NASCAR's championship weekend, we will crown a PRL Truck Series champ.
Yeah, and see the schedule on the screen. It's sort of a bittersweet moment tonight. We get to crown a champion and maybe make history in some different ways. But of course, we're saying goodbye to the PRL as far as the Truck Series is concerned. So that's the schedule. Let's take a look at the points. It's really, I guess, a 3-way battle. I mean, it's basically 2-way. It's Low and Dick first, over 5 points for Brownie Holly. Reese Bogue, who won last week, did a great job. Got himself within, I think, a 28, 29-point margin. So not completely out of the question. Look at that, though. 4th and 5th, Regan and Kalen tied. Matt Gagnon, Jeff Evans, Colton Lane, Jacob Dunn, and James Morgan rounds out your top 10. There's a lot of great battles up and down the board. And, of course, look at this. Whataback Racing. They've walked away with it, Evan.
They have, and of course, there's no shock. We've been talking a lot about it. The fact that with Lowendick and Holly running 1-2 in the driver championship, no surprise to see that Whataback Racing group pull away. Regan Bogue Motorsports and the Miracle Flow Motorsports group, though, the next most interesting battle. Regan Bogue with Reese and Richard in the number 3 and 4 spot in the driver championship, heavy hitters, but been a kind of a quiet P3 fight out of the Miracle Flow Motorsports group with Evans and Schwartz as well being kind of the next 3 highest drivers through the top 10 and 15 in the points. That could also be an interesting one to watch, but there really is no question that the team championship could go the way of Whataback Racing, and the question tonight becomes which of those Whataback Racing drivers ends up as the driver champ.
Yeah, it's a lot to still be determined. You know, a lot of pride in line, I think, this being the last PRL truck race. Maybe everybody is probably going to want to gun for that win. So this could be very interesting how this affects the title tonight, Evan, to see who does what. You know, is everyone going to give enough space to Low and Dick and Holly, or does this get a little messy as the night goes on?
Transitioning into the qualifying session now, I want to say thanks as always to our partners who make tonight's broadcast coverage possible. It starts at the top with our friends at Logitech G. Logitech G wheel and pedals are equipped with true force feedback to help you feel the road and own the race. Use code PRECISION at checkout on logitechg.com for 5 to 10% off your purchase. For Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits in the market today. All PRL members get a 5% discount on ASR products using the code PRECISION5. For Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer and up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and get a 5% discount code using the code Precision5. And the Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products offer an incredible immersion and addition of realism to every single game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. For Moradness. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For Mr. Hedge Sim Racing Photography. At Mr. Hedge, capture your finest, proudest, or even worst moments from your favorite hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And for Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials and become a better driver. So big thanks to all of them for bringing you tonight's coverage. Qualifying is underway now. It was Richard L. Regan Jr., fourth in the points after a rough couple of weeks. Followed up, of course, with some success last week, but it was round 6 and 7 that's put him behind the 8 ball. He was best in practice. It'd be interesting to see if that number 56 car can end up top of the board in Q. Bradley Holly, second best in practice. Not going to match that mark, though, in Q. You can see as we watch Matthew Zurich go around, Holly's already P5 best, and both of his laps are done.
Yeah, speaking of Bradley Holly, let's see if we can get a word with him here during qualifying, see if we can get him in here for a moment and see if we can talk to Brad. One of the mainstays of the PRL, honestly. Just a number of wins, number of races, the success he's had, and of course being a playoff driver tonight. There it is, Brad. So want to bring you in the booth and kind of let you talk about your thoughts on tonight and how you're feeling.
Honestly, a little sad. I joined the PRL back in, I think, 2018, and I guess it's coming to a realization that it's over after tonight, and I'm going to try to take in as much as I can and have as much fun as I can with these guys, and hopefully get a win out of it.
So, of course, tonight you kind of get to say goodbye and maybe put another PRL title up on the proverbial trophy case, maybe put another win under that notch of record numbers of wins. And just, it's got to be hard, but of course, many reasons to still celebrate, and you got to stay focused for an hour of racing. How do you do that?
Just one lap at a time, honestly. It's going to be sad, but honestly, with the community that we've built over the years, it's going to continue, and I have to keep that in mind and look forward to starting some new stats. Probably won't be as good as it was in the PRL, but we'll keep it going and have some fun over the next few years.
Yeah, I think the theme of the night will be celebration and talking about, your paint scheme coming back from your first win and the different paint schemes tonight and the friendships. I mean, you've had teammates, you've been friends with for a long, long time and been to each other's weddings and everything. So that community aspect is really, really strong.
Yeah. Over the years, I've met a lot of great guys, have come and gone through PRL, and, the core group from, 7-8 years ago is a majority of us is still here, and had a lot of good memories that we're reminiscing about today in practice. So, when we go to a new league or start a new league, we're going to start some new memories, and hopefully you guys get to broadcast us in our new league, and we get to continue that tradition as well.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, qualifying is over. We're about to get grading, so we'll let you get back to it. Good luck tonight. We'll see if you can bring home a title.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is Bradley Holly, championship driver tonight, Evan, and I think the winningest driver in PRL history.
And he wants to end this one on a championship note. With that, let's go trackside and take a look at tonight's starting grid. And pole position goes to the number 17. It'll be Daniel Knight, who brings us to the green flag. He'll be joined alongside by the number 24 Rapid Theft Racing entry of Andrew Sharp. Back on row number 2, it is the number 13 Woodaback Racing machine. That is Ted Lowendick starting third tonight, and starting in fourth, the number 56 Regenboog Motorsports truck of Richard L. Regan Jr. In on row number 3, P5 starter, the 51 Miracle Flow Motorsports truck of Jeff Evans, and starting in P6, the number 23 Buster Buds Racing Club truck, that is Brett Adams.
Then back in the P7, there's Bradley Holly, the driver we just talked to, with Thomas Sink back in P8, Patrick Calculus back in B9 with Zach Panzarella, bringing back the dog paint scheme at P10. 11th is Reese Bogue, last week's winner at Coda, with Matt Gagnon on the outside in P12.
Lucky number 13 tonight goes to the JLAS Racing number 42. That's Mike Toomer Jr. To the outside, Doug Evans in the 41 starts in 14th. Behind him, 15th place starter, the number 60 Woodaback Racing Chevrolet of Colton Lane. And to his outside, the number 62 Buster Buds Racing Club. That's the Ford of Mark Kalin. And on row number 9, P17 on the grid tonight, the number 59 of Brendan Chatley. To his outside, it's the number 19 of Nicholas Hunter in P18.
We went back into P19. Jacob Dunn, part of Tabata Rossi Esports, with Dalton Geyer on the outside in P20. Edward Peltz and Steve Loving make up row 11 and 21st and 22nd. And then Austin Hunter and Alex Hillman round out the top 24.
25th, they'll go to Kevin McGarvey's number 77 truck, and 26th to Matthew Zerwick. Tom Massey starts 27th, James Morgan in 28th, Nick Schwartz 29th, and Stacy Hunter in 30th.
In the back, the last of the field, Kyle Dewey in 31st, Sam Smeltzer 32nd, Ryan Newman 33rd, and Evan Williams 34th. Those are the last drivers to turn qualifying times, and then two more, Zachary Burnt and Zachary Williams, rounds out a 36 truck field.
It's a look top to bottom at tonight's starting grid. And for one final time, reset the clock to 61 hour on the board. And with the championship on the line, we're happy that you're spending this last Wednesday night with us here on RaceSpotTV. Field in the hands of the number 17 of Daniel Knight will crown a champion for 2025 at the end of 60 minutes here in the desert. Let's go racing at Phoenix.
Watching already.
Trouble and a yellow flag you see by the start-finish line. Trucks are clear. The issue, I believe, was behind that start-finish line with Kevin McGarvey in the 77. There is that truck. It was obstructed by the inside wall. He got spun around before they even got to the stripe, and it'll be a quick yellow to kick off this finale.
A very, very quick yellow to kick off this finale, and a race I think a lot of drivers are excited for and to kind of get going. So this will be a bit of a bummer for some of those drivers. Let's take a look at how this is going to play out here on the replay. Look at McGarvey on the bottom of your screen, and a little bit of check up in the bottom lane, and McGarvey got spun around, and the caution came out.
It looked like a couple trucks up the road is where the stack up happened. I don't know if the 7 missed a gear or if it was just a slow start for Edward Pelz, but that's kind of what checked everybody up on the inside. And that 77 got the boot, got turned around. Here's an onboard perspective from back in line on the inside of the racetrack. And you can see right there, I mean, trying to go. He's got to check up to not hit the truck in front of him. And just like a fender bender on the freeway, eventually someone's not going to get enough time to hit the brakes. Those two get together, and it is a quick yellow that'll slow things down right at the start of the 60-minute clock in this season finale. So an opportunity to catch our breaths, reset, and to talk more about this championship picture as we come into tonight. Ted Lowendick and Bradley Holly, the drivers you're watching for in the title fight. Ted Lowendick, the leader right now, third on the racetrack. Bradley Holly, the challenger, in the number 6 spot as they run.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this works out. Of course, Lowendick came away with the Pro Series title last year. I think surprised himself more than he surprised anyone. I think a lot of people had faith in him, and he sort of surprised himself. And we got a couple slow trucks. We got a little bit of chaos here on the track, Evan, and it's going to be an issue where the caution came out before everyone touched the start-finish line, and I think timing and scoring is going to be a little wonky here. So we're going to see if we can get this sorted out and how we can get it moving. But coming back to the topic, I mean, it's a really interesting battle. It's Bradley Holly, you know, a driver who's won over 100 oval races in his PRL career versus Ted Lowendick, you know, who is really, I said, surprised himself more than I think any of the rest of us winning that title last year. So we'll see what can happen. So we got some drivers going around. We got lots of stuff happening here. We got a black flag for Edward Peltz. A lot of chaos on lap 1 here. There's Andrew Sharp now up front. And we're not going green here. The pace truck's pulling down, but they're going to call him back out on the track so we can get everything sorted out of him.
Gives us a good opportunity to talk about the unique pit road here. May not talk about it under green flag pit stop circumstances, but it is unique with the way that they reconfigured this racetrack a few years ago. The fact that that pit lane entry actually in the set of returns 1 and 2 and spits you back out off the exit at turn number 4. So when you're on pit road, 3/4 of the lap is down there at pit road speed of 45 miles an hour. It's interesting because the pace truck has to follow pit road speed of 45 miles an hour. It does get the shortcut there, so it should be able to blend back up in front of the leaders. And as soon as it does so, the lights will go back out, and it will, in theory, duck back down to the pit lane this time by. This restart procedure here, pre-restart zone on the iRacing service, was always an interesting and hotly debated one as well, because some drivers felt like that they could restart the race as the control car when the pace truck left the racing surface. At most racetracks, that's not a problem. That's right before the restart zone anyways. But you can see here at Phoenix, it's a wide berth. So restart zone procedures have changed how drivers will navigate this new iteration of the Phoenix Raceway. Looking at a restart, just under 56 to go.
Sorry, I mean, I was saying, and I think this right here's a test in patience for the leaders, by the way, because now you're going to maintain that pace speed without a pace truck in front of you, and that's a little harder than it sounds sometimes.
And Andrew Sharp, who has a difficult job of restarting on the outside, you got to keep your eyes on that 17 all the way through. Green flag, back in the air. It's a good jump for the 17. He'll lead us down to turn number 1.
2, 3, 4 wide at some points using that dog leg. They'll all merge back up here on the track, and we're wrecking again. Boy, oh boy. 2 restarts. So there's the wreck up top. There you go. I saw Jacob Dunn on the bottom of that purple and black top at Rossi machine, but I think it's up there up top. That's maybe that Matt Gagnon in the 14, and I can't tell who the blue truck is right now.
The 23 of Brett Adams. They kind of played bumper cars all the way through the corner. It looks like in the end it will be Brett Adams where it starts. There's really no wreck, I guess, if you want to call it. They certainly tried their best. I think when Adams went side by side, he's this bright blue 23 right there, gets a shove from the 31. Yellow's already out at this point, up into the outside wall. There's a bit of extra damage there to the number 14 to machine Matt Gagnon. Again, Yellow's already out at this point. They kind of stay hooked together. A couple other trucks will pick up some damage here and there. There's no big spin in the end, and I think Gagnon somehow through all of that ends up getting the worst of all of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, hard hit to the outside, but boy, oh boy. And by the way, I just want to say, a lot of times, you know, a lot of people, I think, are critical of maybe the lack of cautions in iRacing. That was a beautiful caution call. I mean, that was a truck, you know, probably, what, 30, 45 degrees up the track. So obviously, White came out. Watch this onboard here. And watch what's going to happen in front of him. There's the DDI truck. That's Zach Pantarella. And then Gagnon just hits right onto Brett Adams here. And they got hooked together. He's going to get unhooked and slap the wall. It's Matt Gagnon. You know, this
unfortunate there.
Yeah, it is the last 40. You know, this race can be tough for you and I, and then we'll talk about as the night goes on, Evan. There are plenty of tribute and throwback paint schemes tonight. So you and I have spent a whole season learning these paint schemes and who races what, and everybody went and changed for the finale. Like, look at Andrew Sharp up front. I said this comment earlier to some friends privately. Does that truck not remind you of like an old, like the Papyrus NASCAR days with just the color scheme?
Fair answer, but what I was thinking, and this may date myself a little bit, is the infomercials of, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't a pen, but it was some sort of drawing device that would be on it, like a 3M infomercial where you would kind of swipe it and there would be like 3 or 4 different colors. I'm going to try to find this product.
Okay,
but it's giving like early 2000s, you know, 3AM infomercial for something cool that I would have asked my parents to buy me.
Yeah, very much. So this was Andrew's first paint when he ran in the PRL. So he went through back to that. The leader on the inside is 77. Daniel Knight going back to, I believe, one of his first, if not his first paints. So we'll feature more as the night goes on. But yeah, plenty of drivers wanted to kind of show off here tonight and tribute the PRL in their own way. And I would say, Evan, that's one of the beautiful advantages we get as iRacers, is using our liveries as tributes to the causes and the emotions we're speaking to.
Also, it is the rainbow brush, mega brush is the infomercial. So if you do some Googling, you might remember what I'm talking about. But rainbow art, that's what it reminds me of. By the way, he's got a real good seat on the front row, but the last time Daniel Knight had a huge advantage on the jump as they restart in the center of turns 3 and 4, and the inside gets the jump again. Green flag flies, and not only is Daniel Knight through, but so is the 56, Richard Regan Jr. He's up into a race high P2.
There's almost some contact there between this Jeff Evans and Ted Lowendick right there. And they got it cleaned up, and now out of these corners, you really do sweep up out of these corners, and you got to have great momentum. Look at that, 3, 4 wide down this back straight. That's almost impossible, Evan.
And they're going to use this dog leg here, which is wide open. Some drivers all the way down to the inside, retaining the ball. Others stay up onto the racing surface, like you saw that green number 42 car do. Mike Toomer Jr. There is battling all throughout the field from top to bottom. They're also going to go side by side up front in a battle for the race lead. Richard Regan Jr. underneath the 17 of Daniel Knight. Can the challenger for a top 3 spot in the championship go to the top position on the racetrack? Knight's not going to give up the bottom. At 56, going to have to use the light banking. Caution comes out behind. And the timing of the yellow, will that give Regan the race lead? It was awfully close. I don't think it will in the end, as Stacy Hunter is the truck that is around.
Yeah, Stacy, they're in that, called black and teal machine, and we'll see what exactly brought the yellow. And I think they're going to give Daniel Knight, as you said, the call on that. And Richard Regan will fall in second, Sharp in third. So on here. Here we are 10 minutes in, 3 cautions in, so lots to cover already. Lots of contact, and this is a track that can really promote, really hard racing. Let's watch what's going to happen. As Stacy Hunter in the middle, and he gets bumped by Patrick Calgill. Wow, was that Calgill? I'm pretty sure it was, with the old throwback paint scheme.
Yeah, had a little bit of help there. You talk about 3, 4 wide at times, and that was kind of a half lane, which is obviously there into the corner. It sounds like it was Zach Burnt who made that contact, but that spot's always going to be there into the corner because you're going to enter high, right? Look, it's tantalizingly open, but as you take the natural progression of the corner, that 71's going to come down a little bit. I will say, in defense of Zach in this one, the 71, you could see that was a very unique line, kind of diamonding the corner. Stacy Hunter taking a corner unlike any of the other trucks around, so that may have made it a bit difficult to judge as the next truck in line. But at the end of the day, the driver that gets into the back of somebody else, typically the one that will be agreed upon to be at fault, and an unfortunate incident there that's going to cost them both some spots. So already 3 yellows early in this one. Matt Gagnon is out of this race. His night is done already. Tom Massey's 12 laps down. He is still on the racetrack, so might be some attrition in this season finale. And part of this final race is to celebrate the drivers of the PRL, and here's our Brady Bunch that we're looking on board with today.
I think poor Matt Gagnon up in the top middle either gave up or hit his webcam, but you see a bunch of drivers, and maybe camera fell over. There's, of course, Richard Regan up in the top right, Mark Kalin middle right. There's Andrew Sharp in the middle, and then Bradley Hollywood is 2 in the middle left, and the bottom left. Is that Zachary Williams in the top left? I don't remember. Actually, I apologize for whoever that is up there. Yeah, it is Zachary Williams. But yeah, so these guys have been great all season, having webcams available for us to put on the broadcast, and many memories in the PRL all the way across here. So thank you to those guys for having their webcams available and doing that. And I do want to apologize. You're right. That was not Patrick Calgill who made the contact. That was Burnt. As I said, with new paint schemes and everything, it's a little challenging because Calgill actually has a back end that sort of like Burnt. So we'll focus on that later. But again, let's try a restart, Evan.
We're going to do it again, and it is a situation that number 17 of Daniel Knight, awfully familiar with at this point. I think he's fortunate to be the control car. I thought Regan had a nose in front at the moment of the yellow. Obviously, the sim automatically decides who was in front, and it gives the 17 the benefit of the track position. So 15 laps down and almost 15 minutes gone on the board. We say green flag back in the air. Good jump for the 17, but look at the 56 car. Regan aggressive to seal off the 24 to Sharp. He maintains P2, looks to set his sights on the race lead as they're 3 wide and 2 wide in the midfield.
Remember, at one point, we thought Richard Regan was a lock to be involved in this points title at the end of the season. Had a great start, missed a week due to going to the real life Daytona 24, and had a couple bad weeks right in the middle of the season. One for internet problems, and I think one just a bad race really just kind of killed that run. But look at that 3 wide, the 3 car in the middle. That's a great run right there for those drivers, and they're going to keep racing here side by side by side as we now come through the dog leg down into turns 1 and 2.
And as they come off of 2, down the back straightaway, the old front stretch here at Phoenix. Everybody inside of the top 10, single files out. Midfield, not so coordinated, though. First bit of side-by-side, diving down into the corner. That challenger on the bottom was the number 11 of Alex Hillman. Way to the outside, that green 42 truck. That's Mike Toomer Jr. in the mix as well. Do they go 3 wide? Jacob Dunn has the chance to be the instigator. He's trying. And the TRA Chevrolet doesn't go for it, and now he's sideways off of turn 2. Reels it back in. Jacob Dunn almost lost it on the flattest corner of the racetrack.
Yeah, and that's a move that often happens in real life where drivers want to get down in that banking there, especially in 1 and 2. But it doesn't seem to ever really work as well in sim, I don't think. A lot of drivers don't want to try it. It just doesn't seem to stick the same way it does in real life. And I think that's always a bit of a fool's move to get down there.
Not done yet. 33 car now. The driver who wants to get going, Kyle Dewey, kind of gave a shot to the back end of the next truck up the road there. They're the 3 wide just behind this. It's all going on in a battle for about 24th and 25th position. But don't tell these drivers that it's a battle back here in traffic. They are up and on the wheel. 33, Dewey to the outside. Also up there, number 99, Zachary Williams, the Sweetwater Toyota. They work the outside, and if you're able to make that lane work, man, that top side works so good to carry your speed through the corner. And then you get down here to 1 and 2. These corners could not drive any differently than they actually do as we jump up in front. This one, the battle for P16. Nicholas Hunter around the inside of Doug Evans.
Yeah, lots of beautiful racing. Look at that bit of throwback Weatherback scheme back there for the 19 and that bright orange, and then Doug Evans and that bright green, both their first paint schemes ever in the PRL. That was a pretty common theme tonight, Evan, was let's go back to our first paints. And we'll see a lot of that for some of the drivers. And other drivers will see some different ideas from as the night goes on. There's Reese Bogue in the middle of your picture in the 4. He's trying to hold off a whole herd of drivers here. That's what Thomas Sink, Andrew Sharp, Ted Lowendick, Jeff Evans. This is from 4th on back from Reese Bogue here. And remember, Reese, of course, our most recent winner, had an amazing run at COTA last week. Impressed a lot of people.
He really did. And of course, we talked about the challenges of the road course race at COTA. We saw a lot of that as well on the streets of Chicago. Bradley Holly and Reese Bogue, your 2 road course race winners on the season. Both drivers top 3 in the championship. I think a good indication of kind of what it takes to be one of the best in maybe modern era NASCAR national racing is you got to have talent on all disciplines of tracks. And that's not just ovals versus road courses. That's the big tracks and the short tracks in Phoenix's case as well. One thing that we haven't seen tonight that we're seeing now is some separation. Now, the individual driving and handling issues is going to be a threat for yellows all race long. These trucks are loose, especially on the exit of turn number 2. That's not going to improve. That's only going to get worse as the race goes on. But the more space these trucks get in between each other, the more likelihood we have of getting a bit of a green flag run in here.
And the other thing that's really kind of going to get more and more sketchy and more scary as the run goes on, Evan, is the use of that dog leg. When you get new tires, it's easy to get down there. That transition just kind of happens. But as these tires wear off, every time you sort of get down to that hump and you bobble this truck, getting down to that dog leg and back up, you run the risk into some really awful weight transitions and just a spin out happening, what it feels like out of nowhere. So that you see a lot more drivers as the run goes on. You see there's not as much use of that dog leg as there was, when this race began 18, 19 minutes ago now. Here's Jeff Evans. He's going to dig to the bottom and try and get around Ted Lowendick, but instead decided it wasn't going to work, and he's going to fall back in line.
Yeah, it doesn't go for the move, drops back in line, so that battle continues on for the number 6 and 7 spots for the moment. And now maybe back on the offensive. There's a couple of dives to the inside right of your screen as maybe 4th was up for grabs. This battle right here again between Sharp and Cowgill for 8th and 9th with the number 31 at Cowgill clearing on the inside. So give it to the 31 machine. So nice pass there, pretty methodical, and Cowgill going to go back up to the number 8 spot. Andrew Sharp struggling a little bit after starting P2 on the grid. That truck continues to slide back. He's now at a race low of P9.
Yeah, and of course, Andrew, a driver who came on, it feels like a long time ago now, but it's still, a year in maybe to oval racing and has just really come in through and done an amazing job and has everything to be proud of here. So Andrew's done great in the PRL, 24 Hours of Nürburgring winner last year in the GR86 in one of the iRacing official sessions, and overall great. Look at that. Has time to get up there and wipe his nose. 2 hands on the wheel at all times, please.
Yeah, this is a racetrack that lends itself to opportunities to stretch or scratch an itch like some other places, but even while these drivers are all nice and close together, you got to do what you got to do to be comfortable in the car, and sometimes that's a nice deep breath on the straightaway. Sometimes you just kind of got to give your body a shake so you don't tense up. Whatever each driver feels like they need to do to stay loose and in focus and in a comfortable spot in the race is what they're going to do. Here's a look off of the back of Reese Bogue. He still sits in the number 4 spot. His march up front has been slow but steady. The McConey Setup Shop LLC machine started back in 11th spot. He is all the way up now into P4. Hasn't been able to get away, though, from Thomas Sink. He passed the 48 a few laps ago, and Sink has been all over the bumper of that truck ever since.
Yeah, Tom in that grinds machine said today to be his first and his last paint scheme in the PRL. So you see that older look from Sink, and man, look how close he gets to Bogue. Doesn't touch him, but he wants to stay up in that mirror, wants to get his presence felt as this night goes on. There's a great paint scheme that just went by. That's Zach Panzarella, champion last year, season 3, I believe, and he had the dog. And I haven't even seen this paint scheme yet, Evan. He has a big puppy on the side of that truck.
One there in the battle for P10. So Zach Panzarella rocking the, I don't want to call it sky blue colors, maybe with some clouds on that machine as well. But nice looking car with the dog on the side. I wonder if it guilts any of the fellow drivers into not door slamming the truck, because you just kind of feel bad about yourself. He's keeping it clean right now, having a pretty consistent night. He runs exactly where he started in the number 10 spot. But all the drivers behind him, Colton Lane's up 4. You got Steve Loving in the mix. He's up 10. So is Austin Hunter. So there's a lot of hard-charging trucks lined up behind him and wanting to take a crack at him. Further back in the field, the battle for the number 26th position sees Nicholas Schwartz dropping 2 as both Zachary Burnt on the inside and Kyle Dewey on the outside make a pass on the 171. He's not done yet, though. Schwartz threw it in there deep in the turn 1.
Speaking of throwbacks and trimmings, look at that 33, the black and or the white and blue of Kyle Dewey, the Sony on the back of the truck. That looks like we were at Darlington. That could be like an old classic throwback style scheme. I'm confused. That's not what he told me he was running tonight, but still a throwback that's different from what Kyle typically runs, I do believe. So there you go. There's a 59 on the screen now, and other drivers, and Mike Toomer in there, and of course the 2 Top Bit Rossum teammates back behind that. So there's Chatley, Toomer, Zerwick, Dunn, Morgan, all in that picture fighting hard.
Yeah, all kinds of them all over that spot, although Zerwick, he went to the fence that time as he went off it into turn number 4. Just missed the corner there in that exchange. Now stuck on the outside of Jacob Dunn in the 3, clearing on the inside. Moving up to the battle for P4, some 12 seconds ahead of the last fight that they were watching. And you can see that Thomas Sink has been able to get back around Reese Bogue. So you wonder, for this 4-truck race winner a week ago, realistically not in championship contention because he had a DNS at round number 6 that counts as his only bye, so he kind of loses the margin for error that others have as we take a second look at the contact to the outside wall there down the backstretch. You wonder if Bogue works so hard, Derek, to get these spots in the opening 30 or so laps that maybe he's used up everything that's good and is now going to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a valid point because, I mean, despite all the cautions, no one pitted. So it's not as if we have any different tires, going on here. We don't have any, different strategies moving. So typically when you have that style of racing, you'll have that. There's a nice tribute to the PRL in the back of that truck there. That was the 17, and Daniel Knight had the tombstone for the PRL on the flatbed of that truck. And I guess I'm most surprised here, Evan. I mean, here's Richard Regan finally making the move, and I was surprised. We've been green for a long time, and it felt like before the green that Regan was on the move and was going to make this pass and was going to take this lead. And since we went green again, I mean, he's still having trouble getting around Daniel Knight here.
Hasn't been able to get that spot, so this battle continues on. Daniel Knight started this race up front. He has led every single lap of this race, but for how much longer? Because Richard Regan Jr. more aggressive there now. They touch in the center of 1 and 2, and clear down the back straightaway is Regan. Knight gives him a shunt. He pushes into turn number 3, but what's done is done, and new race leader for the first time this afternoon as Regan goes to the point.
Yeah, Richard Regan's done a great job here. Second most wins in ovals in PRL history. Would love to put one more under his belt and walk away that final winner. And a title, I guess you don't even have to defend, Evan. It's just sort of yours, right? Because there's no defending it if it's the last race ever. So that'd be a big notch for whoever pulls it off, whether it be Richard or anyone else. Here's Jacob Dunn almost making contact with Mike Timmer coming there. And I always know, I know the corners. That was 1 and 2. They've changed it around a few times on this, Evan. So I think no matter what corner you call it, you're kind of right, just depending upon the era of Phoenix you're talking about.
Yeah, I still struggle to get my head wrapped around the renumbering of the racetrack. Again, the surface itself hasn't seen really any changes. The reconfiguration was all flipping, basically. Start-finish line would have been right here, halfway down what is now the straight backstretch, and that dogleg used to be the back straightaway. So it feels weird that you come to the checkered flag basically in the center of turn number 4, and then the dogleg doesn't count as a corner, but it is a turn. It's a bit unique. I don't know if it's quite as strange as Pocono in terms of the corner numbering, but if you argued that this track had 5 corners, I might let you finish your argument, because it is a unique one. Has always been one of the more challenging tracks on the short course scene. Maybe not necessarily the most exciting track currently in the real world, but this sim package, at least with these trucks, putting on a pretty good show right now. As you can see, comers and goers. Now it's Jeff Evans on the attack, trying to make it work on the inside of Lowendick.
Yeah, there's been lots of movement up and down this field, just a number of spots gained and lost. And everyone's battling for something. This is the kind of race you want to have any week in any league, whether it be your final race or not. Look at the left side of the screen there. Some of the numbers there. Steve Loving up 10. Austin Hunter up 10. Evan Williams up 19. That's a great run for him, up to P15. And, of course, you see some of them, Jeff Evans down 2, Lowendick down 3, Andrew Sharp down 7. I believe that's our biggest faller still on the track, I think, is -7.
We've got a couple of drivers who are out of this race as well. You talk about Sharp down -7, certainly the biggest loser of those drivers inside of the top 10. Other notable trucks who have struggled, Mike Tuber Jr. is down 10 spots in 23rd, 8 spots down for Edward Pels in the 20s, and that, of course, excludes the likes of Adams and Gagnon, who have dropped way back. Brett Adams started P6 in this race. He's in 34th. So you've certainly seen some drivers struggle more than others. This battle you're looking at right now for P30 is 20 full seconds behind the leaders. So that means that those race lead cars are only about 9 seconds behind this group. So if this green flag run continues much longer, we're going to be talking about lap traffic getting in the way. And I said out loud I wasn't sure if we were going to see green flag pit stops, but Bradley Hawley is in. He's the number 2 truck. Sorry, Bradley Chatley is down pit road. So he's the first truck in 44 laps. He is not pitted at all tonight. That's an interesting point to note, Derek, is that nobody else pitted under those early yellow flags. So fuel, I think, still not in a position where these drivers can go to the end. So if we could stay green here, we might see more of this.
No, I believe the number I got pre-race was 65 to 72 laps was what we were looking at green flag wise for gas, and we're working lap 47. I'm almost wondering in a way if Brad's doing the old NASCAR road course, or that was Chatley. Now the graphics got me doing it. I wonder if Chatley's doing the old counting it backwards method, right? So that's what I was kind of wondering in my head is, is he doing that? Or maybe he wants to make it a two-stopper. Maybe the tires are wearing off so bad he's decided to make it a two-stopper and wants to be different. We'll see how that plays out as the night goes on. A couple other notes of things here. There is Jeff Evans, and there's Patrick Calgi. If we could look at the back of Patrick's truck for a moment here. Patrick has went ahead and decided to pay tribute not only to the PRL, but the different teams in PRL he's been a part of throughout his tenure in PRL. As you can see, he has Whataback Racing back there. He's got the DDI logo on the back of his truck, and SRT's back there. So Patrick wanted to say thank you to the teams who've kind of let him be on their roster, along with thank you to the PRL. So it's a mix of a truck with all the different team logos for Patrick Cowgill. Of course, Patrick, was won a couple seasons here in the PRL about a year ago, so had some success, and maybe hasn't had the lucky one recently, but one of the mainstays at PRL.
Great to see all these different drivers playing some tribute to all of the different paint schemes and teams, numbers, and designs that they have represented over the years here in the Precision Racing League. Again, it's a kind of bittersweet moment to see this series go, at least in the short term. But great to see a full field of trucks, a compelling championship battle on the line, and all of these drivers buying in for a good showing. Jumping back to see that number 21 truck. That is Steve Loving in 13th position. Right now, fighting with Austin Hunter. He wants P12 on the inside. Should have a good opportunity down into turns 3 and 4 to get under the 27, although give credit to that Whataburger machine up top, not rolling over and giving up. Austin Hunter stays in front for the time being.
Yeah, Austin, by the way, using a throwback to, he said, one of his first paint schemes, and you'll notice Bradley Holly has almost the identical paint scheme. One is white with orange stripes, the other is orange with white stripes, and a funny quote I got today, Austin said, this is a throwback paint to when I made the quote-unquote mistake of inviting Bradley Holly to join PRL many years ago. So that was a throwback for that, and Austin having some fun kind of poking at Brad and the idea of inviting him in.
What's going on all over the racetrack now as we are past the halfway point, 30 minutes down and 30 minutes to go here in Avondale, Arizona. So the clock starts to tick down. You wonder, does that mean we're inside the fuel number to get to the end of this race? Maybe not quite. The sim estimates that there are 62 laps to go if this race were to stay green. The race leaders, of course, working lap number 54 right now. Now, a couple of yellows will aid that fuel number, but we're starting to get to that middle point as you take a look on board with one of the best looks in the sim, and that's Bradley Holly. It's his POV.
Yeah, I love this POV. And I think to your point, I think a lot of drivers are going to want to probably pit this right about the halfway point. And I love that idea. This way, you should know how the truck's going to behave for the second half of the race, because it's equal distance as it was the first half. There's Brad, all the Lego sets behind him we focus on throughout the time. The PRL champion poster just off on camera left there. And for the first time tonight, maybe the room's a little off color from the truck, Evan. Typically, Brad does a pretty great job at matching the color of the room with the color of the truck. But if the room's more red and the truck is more orange.
You see the thank you message there on the deck lid. A good opportunity to show that one off as Bradley Holly says thank you to the PRL. And here is the lap traffic that I had mentioned a little bit ago was going to start to be a factor. That's not Ryan Newman in the number 10 machine, who yields to the wayside. He'll be the first driver one lap down right now. Not for long, though, because Zachary Williams also going to get lapped in the number 99. So lap traffic doing a good job of yielding as much as they can. And right now it seems like yielding to the bottom is the decision. One more truck coming to pit road this time by. That's going to be service for Zachary Williams. Evan Williams is also down pit road.
Well, as we get ready to do pit stops in a few laps, I thought we should go ahead and take a moment to talk to the driver who went out of this race really early. Bring in Matt Gagnon. And Matt, not the way you wanted your final PRS to go, I assume.
Not at all, Derek. It's a little disappointing, very frustrating, get taken out in the first couple laps there. I just wanted to continue my points run, probably the best points run I was able to put together in an entire season of PRL throughout multiple seasons. So a little disappointed, hoping to finish inside the top 5, but not looking like it tonight.
So you've been a part of not only, RBM, Regenboog Motorsports for a while, but also PRL. So as we talk about this coming to an end and we talk about kind of celebrating PRL, what has PRL meant to you?
It's been the thing. It's been my hobby. It's been, I don't want to say livelihood, but it's been, the thing I look forward to, and it's the thing that everybody looks forward to. We have a great group of guys, despite the amount of crap I can talk about them every single night, It's a great group of guys, and all of us being together on a Wednesday night, this is our thing, and we're losing our thing. That's the sad part about it. Unfortunately, this may never happen again, or if it does, it's going to be a little bit till we all get back together racing again.
Yeah, talk about the friendships made. Speaking of friendships, I know you'll take this well when I ask you, what ski slope did you rob those glasses from? Where did those come from?
I actually got asked that question a lot by my teammates, and I don't ski. I used to ski back in elementary school, 5th grade. We used to have a ski club, and these little things. I don't know. I just found them in the corner of my room while cleaning it out one day, and you know what? I could probably race with these because, I have blue light glasses, right? They work well. They do pretty well. I like them. I feel like they look pretty good on me, but these are blue light glasses on steroids. The tint is just mint.
Maybe without him, you wouldn't have been in the wreck tonight. Who knows?
If buts and maybes, man. If buts and maybes.
All right, Matt. We're going to get back to the racing. It's been a pleasure watching you in PRL. It's been a pleasure talking to you both, in interviews and offline. Thank you for all you've done, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much, guys. You guys do a fantastic job every single week throughout the entire PRL series. Keep up the good work, and we will hopefully see you guys at some point soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
That is Matt Gagnon, driver of the number 14, out of this race early, Evan, but up in good spirits in his interview.
Good to be able to hear from him. In this one is, again, his night not ending the way he was hoping. Pit stops are ramping up. Nicholas Hunter, Austin Hunter, Nicholas Schwartz, and Kyle Dewey all on pit road. Those are all trucks from the midfield or so. So the question remains, when do we see somebody from the race lead come down and pit? We've seen the likes of Jeff Evans, Colton Lane come in. Those are trucks that have been running up front, but we've yet to see the big players in the battle for the race lead here. Regan 1, Knight 2, Holly 3, Bogue and Lowendick 4th and 5th on the racetrack. Now, the short pit strategy, there's some pros and cons. As we always mention, the first driver's in, of course, going to get the better tire sooner. They're going to get the better lap times immediately off of the pit lane and will make up ground through the pit cycle. The gamble is you might put yourself a lap down at a racetrack this small doing so, and an ill-timed yellow would therefore trap you a lap down and really hurt your strategies. So maybe that's why we haven't seen the leaders rush down yet, while drivers in the midfield continue to pour in.
And I think the other downside to pitting early with the way this track looks right now, Evan, is what if you get yourself caught in some really horrible traffic? A lot of times when you and I talk about pitting off cycle, it's a driver hoping to find some clean air, right? And it's hoping they can get a good run in. But right now, with how long this traffic line is, it's hard to find a piece of track where there's not a truck right now. And so if you pit off cycle, you might find yourself behind some trucks who are on older tires and slower than you, or just not at that pace you want to be. And you might burn up too much equipment trying to pass them. So that may be something you have to consider as well. Pit stops right now happen far back as P17 with Edward Peltz. Of note, a couple pit road black flags. I think I heard Evan Williams had one. And so a couple, here's Thomas Sink now coming down. This will be pitting from the top 10. This is our first taker.
Yeah, Thomas Sink down pit road, in for service. Richard L. Regan Jr. continues to lead laps in this race after the early portions were dominated by Daniel Knight. And this is why you get a bit worried about getting stuck a lap down, because you've got trucks with better tires pitting and driving on the racetrack around the leaders. Holly, a little bit tail happy that time, but the P2 driver in the championship is now down pit road with 22 minutes to go. And now the question is, Ted Lowendick, who was running behind him, does that 13 machine, who has the points in his benefit, respond and come in? There's one more look at the bit of a tail happy swing from that 184.
I think
Lowendick is not coming in though.
I think Brad maybe got on the brakes a little late there, Evan, as far as trying to attack the speed of pit road, and that's just what caused that truck to wiggle back and forth there. By the way, there's a couple. There was Reese Bogue down. There's Richard Regan I'd seen that pack. Andrew Sharp. I think I saw Thomas Sink down there, I believe, or Daniel Knight, one of the two, possibly both down pit road. So this pit road is getting busy right now. 21 minutes to go. And as we're now working lap 70, this is about the end of the pit window. A little longer because of the first 3 cautions, but I'd say by lap 75, maybe lap 80 at the most, everybody will need to have taken gas.
Everybody's going to have to come down and in. We're still waiting on maybe a dozen trucks total to come down and pit. Daniel Knight off of pit road. Same with Reese Bogue. Andrew Sharp also completing his service. Your net leader in all of this is Jeff Evans. That simply means Evans is the lead truck of all of those who have pitted. He currently sits in the number 12 spot. Now, pretty good chance that once all of these leaders come in pit, that he will indeed cycle through to the race lead, because those cars who just came down pit road, they are all running lap times significantly quicker than the leaders, to the tune of at least 1 second per lap. Patrick Cowgill, he's in this time. Zach Panzarella down this time as well. And Ted Lowendick still holding strong, yet to come down pit road. But the championship leader is now P1 for the first time this afternoon.
And of note, he has led a lap. That matters in the points. So Ted Lowendick has now technically increased that lead to 6 on Bradley Holly. That's before you count any positions tonight. So an interesting thing to note, that unless Brad can get up here and lead a lap, that's 1 more point that Lowendick will have on his championship opponent. Here comes Teddy down pit road. Of course, Teddy's got the gummy cluster on the front. He's got Theodore Jr. on the back of the truck and is hoping to win. Notice how he's got the tributes to the hockey players. This is a really amazing truck he's had painted all season, Evan.
It's been a fun one to follow it around all season long, and he hopes that he can put those gummy clusters in victory lane here this afternoon. The gummy clusters on the hood of that truck. The Woodaback racing machine is in for service, and maybe one of the last big names to come down and in, as he will go for what everybody else has been doing, and that is scheduled 4 tires and fuel. So now, new race leader is Mark Kalin in the number 62 truck. Kalin has gone to the lead. Dalton Geyer, Alex Hillman, Jacob Dunn still all need to pit. Same with Mike Toomer Jr. and Zachary Burnt. Now, James Morgan, an interesting case here. He did pit on one of our previous yellows. So all the rest of these leaders are going to have to come down soon. He has a little bit more of a leash because he's got more time. And right as I tee him up for that beautiful story, doesn't matter. Not enough, obviously, saved to be able to go the distance. So he will follow Jacob Dunn down pit road.
Yeah, sometimes it just works to work with a teammate and know that this way you can communicate. I was going to say about pit road, but that was a hard hit by the 62 right there into the wall. Sort of fitting, I guess. For a long time, we've known the 62. Mark KO, big wreck up top, and people backed out. That was Lowendick involved.
The caution flag will fly, and Ted Lowendick in the area of the yellow, I think he's going to have some damage in this one. Your championship leader had just come off of pit road. My, oh my, he's also, at least on my timing and scoring, being shown as a lap down. We'll see if that updates, but boom, that is not an insignificant hit, as the 10 truck came up the hill and Ryan Newman got T-boned there by Ted Lowendick.
And Newman has already called it a night, but this is going to be what? I don't know if Newman was trying to maybe get on pit road and just blew the entry. But wow, but up note, you saw really quickly there, I think you saw Mark Kalin and a couple others hop up real quick. They're going to pit under yellow here. So good news for them. They won't really probably lose as much time as they would have. I don't know if he was going for pit road. I mean, he got loose, Evan, but that's a little late for pit road entry, right?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, I'm just trying to look back to see what he had done. So he just came off of pit road. So presumably that's just the truck on cold tires is what I would think. I agree with you. I don't think that looks like, a truck coming to pit road. Certainly a possibility with the fact that he was just on pit road because he could have gotten a penalty, but I think that's just a truck on cold tires.
That's disappointing. That's going to put a big hindrance on Ted Lowendick. And here's an onboard. This will be Mark Kalin, by the way. I should say that. He's going to see the truck spinning, and he's going to get hit. And then he gets an indication there's a possible yellow coming, and he backs off the pit road entry, and he was right, because right about here, caution's out. Wow. That's full of emotion in that moment, because, I mean, again, I don't know yet how Teddy's truck is. I want to find out in a moment, but wow. There he is on pit road. That's not good news.
Well, there was a 5-point difference between Ted Lowendick and Bradley Holly in the Drivers' Championship, the advantage to Lowendick. And what you're looking at right now is your championship leader, who is down pit road with significant damage. And as he sits on pit road in the center of turns 3 and 4, the field is lined up behind the pace truck, ready for restart. He is not going to be there. And now the yellow flag will be delayed. I wonder, depending on how much damage needs to get fixed on the 13, if that helps him at all. If that pace truck comes by, he's going to lose a lap.
It will help him, because what's going to happen is basically you saw a bunch of wave arounds. Bunch of drivers lined up for wave arounds here. Race control determined they were not lined up. It was going to be kind of unfair. They were going to come in with a zooming start on the back of the field. So the race controls called off this yellow, and you're right, for Lowendick it's going to help. But a lap down with 15 minutes to go, I don't know. I don't think that's, I mean, anything's possible. It's only a lap down. In fact, if he is a lap down, is he off pit road? He's 2 laps down.
Yeah, that car is off pit road now. He is shown as 2 laps down, so the leaders are working lap number 80. He exits pit road on lap number 78. But if he's scored in front of the leaders, this is an interesting scenario. Technically only 1 lap down, but would not be in a lucky dog spot. The other 4 drivers a lap down are basically a full lap ahead of him. So it might be a little bit deceptive with him lined up in front. And if you're Bradley Holly, you're in P13 with an opportunity to steal this championship. After the way this race has gone, what is in store for us inside of the final 15 minutes of racing at Phoenix? Green flag in the air. The field is led to the stripe by lap car Lowendick, but it's Regan, the race leader, up through the gears to turn 1.
So I want to explain quickly what happened here is that when Teddy came off the pit road, he technically got lapped by the pace truck, but on the 1 to go was ahead of the leader, and that's where iRacing is going to put him. And cautions out, Lowendick just lucked out. Lowendick's got a big streak of luck here, and that's Bradley Holly. I didn't mean, sorry, that's Nicholas Hunter. That's orange. I told you I'm getting these paint schemes wrong. But that's great news for Lowendick, because he likely was still ahead of the leaders when the caution came out. So he'll get to stay a lap down, at least here in the moment.
He's going to stay a lap down, and then he'll actually be able to restart with the rest of the lap down trucks, which will give him an opportunity to fight for a lucky dog position. Again, I don't know what that truck is driving like right now. He was able to stay in front of the leaders for a single lap. This has been a fast race truck for much of this night. Again, so I don't know if that's enough with damage to be able to stay there, but this is a win for him. We'll take a look back at what caused the yellow flag. You mentioned it was the number 19 of Nicholas Hunter. He and the number 8 of Matthew Zerwick got together on the entry to turn number 1.
Lowendick came in there hot on pit road. I got concerned for a second. So also good news for him. Not only is he could stay a lap down, he'll get some more of that damage fixed. But I didn't think, Evan, that truck, I mean, at least from the launch, didn't look off pace. But here 3 wide, that's Nicholas Hunter in the orange back in the middle. He's going to get bumped, I think, by Zerowick, and then going to get turned around in front of Doug Evans, in front of Panzarella and others, and the caution's out.
So tough break there. That's, obvious to tell the truck at the inside pushed up. But again, anytime you're going 3 wide off of a restart, you got drivers on wildly varying tire ages. You can see it here. That thing just pushes up. Clearly, that 23 truck behind held the bottom more. It was just a bit of a misjudgment on the inside, and it is unfortunate to be the odd man out. And in that case, it was the orange truck who gets turned around in that exchange. With Lowendick down pit road, it tells me that he doesn't think that he can compete with the damage, right? We were talking about, he could be with the rest of the lap cars fighting for the lucky dog spot, but as this field comes through the corner, again, they're looking to put him another lap down. He's already 1 lap down. Certainly if you go 2 down, I don't see any way of bouncing back, but he feels like his priority right now is the damage repair, and he is going to go a 2nd lap down as the field passes him.
Yeah, it's frustrating. All that racing to keep on that 1 lap down. And unfortunately for Teddy, I mean, at 2 laps down, you're right, that just seems, with 11 minutes to go, likely the end of the story, likely the end of the chapter in that moment. All right, well, here we go. Teammates, co-team owners up front now, Evan. Regan Bogue of Regan Bogue Motorsports will get this race started with about 11 minutes on the clock.
11 minutes to go this season in the Precision Racing League Fixed Truck Series. There was trouble with your championship leader, Ted Lowendick, that has that truck on the racetrack once more, but running 2 laps down in 29th. His championship counterpart, Bradley Hawley, on the lead lap in the number 13 spot. Restart up front. Richard L. Regan Jr., 4th in the championship, takes the green flag. He and Reese Bogue will race to turn 1.
So far, all looks clean as you see Richard Regan leading the field around here. Down the back stretch here. They're still 2-3 wide through the field, so although everything is clean, it's not for a lack of effort. Look at that. My goodness, that's Daniel Knight in the bottom of the black and red, now cutting the dog leg, and they're still 3, almost 4 wide, Evan.
They are all over the racetrack using every inch of this wide open surface that lets you go wherever you want, whether that's on the dog leg or down on the apron. Schwartz sideways, he saves it, not going to catch it up the road though. Trouble for the 60, that's Colton Lane who spins, and a huge hit late. The 8, the 99, the 41 and more. Oh, going to pile into that one late, and Colton Lane not happy about the late damage he picks up in this one.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be, I don't think. Well, I mean, when that's Matthew Zarek, I believe, an 8, that's... Wow. Wow. Well, let's wait and see what happens before we say anything, but it felt like, see, here's Colton Lane, had some internet problem. That's what's going to get him spun around because someone didn't see where he was. But 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 seconds before those trucks pile in. That's something. That's something. This is becoming quite the finale of not only the season, but of the PRL. We're just kind of, I think everyone's a little eager now, Evan. Everyone's a little excited. Watch this here. This is going to be Zerowick. You see truck, you see smoke. You see smoke. There's this thing called a brake pedal. Not on the E-truck, apparently.
Obviously, the easy answer for Colton Lane there is don't spin out in front of the field. But to your point, again, I think it's a valid frustration. Had some connection issues, I think, on his end, which sent him around, but the caution was out well before those other trucks came in. The problem is, though, in their defense, that back straightaway, not that wide, and when you come off of turn number 2, 2 and 3 wide, and a race truck's blocking a third of it, something's going to have to give at some point. And again, I think it was just a bit of insult to injury on behalf of the 60, because Colton Lane had done such a good job after the initial accident of not really picking up a ton of damage. Got a glancing blow from the 48 of Thomas Sink on the way by, and instead the 60 car is basically missing a whole door and is forced down to pit road. And what these yellows are doing is really helping out the likes of Richard L. Regan Jr. and others up front. Again, because the yellow came out, a lot of trucks were on different pit strategies in terms of when they pitted, right? Austin Hunter was one of the first trucks to pit. He's got the oldest tires out there at 26 laps old. And then you got a guy like a Mark Kalin in P3 and Alex Hillman in P6. They pitted later in that cycle. Same with everybody else 7th on back, Geyer, Toomer, and more. They've only got 11 lap older tires. So those trucks really want the benefit of some green flag laps here to try to take it to Regan and Bogue to see if they can use that slight tire benefit to their advantage.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. If we can say green, of course, is the caveat of that statement. But we're only 7 minutes to go with about 4-minute caution. So I think we can only afford like one more caution before we just call this a night and end it under yellow. Pace truck is down. Hopefully for the last time tonight, Richard Regan leads us to the green flag.
Will it be the final restart on the night? A tick under 7 minutes to go. Could be as many as 15 laps if they can keep it green in the back of the field and allow these leaders to fight this one out. Regan, Bogue, teammates on the front row. Green flag. Back in the air, the 56 is clear in the dive down to the dogleg. The 4 truck of Bogue stays in line second. Andrew Sharp on the inside trying to hold off Kalin, who's sideways up top. He'll stay fourth as they go 3 wide around P14.
Boy, you see Jeff Evans, Mike Tumeros got together. There's contact. That's Calgo, I believe, at the bottom. He got it saved. Great job by the 31. They're now 3 wide with Jacob Dunn up top and Thomas Sink in the middle. But up front here, man, look at that scatter around. Everybody's getting eager. Everybody wants to win the final race.
Everybody wants bragging rights, and everybody, I think, also having some fun. Maybe the last time they can go elbows up with some of their friends that they've made throughout the years here in this PRL Truck Series. Up front, Richard Regan Jr. continues to lead. His gap has grown. Make it 6 truck lengths right now over Reese Bogue, who takes an aggressive swipe down to the inside of the racetrack to try to cut that corner and to make up some ground. He'll knock it down to 3, now to 2 truck lengths. Still doing everything he can to get to that 56.
You can tell there's 5 minutes to go if you just look at the track, because what once about 20 minutes ago was a nice calm race with people just kind of hanging on. Oh, there's a yellow. 5 minutes to go. This is going to get close on what's going to happen. And I reckon for the back of the field, maybe the 6 trucks down there, another truck in the back. 7, I believe, is who was back there. Ed Rappels. So Evan, we'll see if we can get this one final time. I hope we do. It will probably likely be a very, very quick 1 or 2 lap dash to the finish.
Yeah, it's going to be close, but I agree with you. I do think we get the opportunity for one final restart. And then obviously anything beyond that point would be a yellow flag that would end the race. We used to always say that, 4 or 5 laps to go is the point of no return. A little bit harder to equate it to a time clock. Pretty similar, 4 or 5 minutes to go, and there it is. Again, that's just a single truck spin. We've been seeing that all night long, and that 6 probably catches it if that other truck's not underneath him, but Evan Williams gets a little bit out of control. The truck on the inside means he does not have the space to try to save it, and it goes around.
Well, the one concern I have about this restart, Evan, is Bradley Holly in 10th, because likely this is going to be just an all-out dogfight all the way through the field for these last spots. And what I'm concerned about Brad is he's sort of just in the middle of it, right? He's in the middle of the hornet's nest, in the middle of the danger zone, whatever whatever phrasing you want to put right there. And I'm kind of concerned. Lowendick right now feels out of it in 26, but one bad wreck for Brad in this, if there is a final caution, could put him back there. If you're Bradley Holly, you're probably the only driver hoping we don't go green again.
Yeah, you would love that this thing would just pace itself to the end, and what a way it would be for Regan to wrap it up. Again, he was on a tear, won 3 of the first 5 races, but we knew it was going to be an uphill battle for him after he did not start the 3rd race of this championship that eliminated his drop week right there. and the poor results at round 6 and round 7 took him out of the championship conversation. He would love to get a race win tonight and end with a statement seeking a 4th win in 8 attempts for him. And there will be more racing to go because the lights are out on top of the pace truck. So we'll get a handful of laps in here if we can go all the way. But any yellow from this point on before the white flag means that this race would end under the yellow. And you know that iRacing will time the leader at the moment of caution. So you might not even need to pass somebody to get the race win. You may simply just need to have a nose in front to put yourself in position. It's the final restart of the 2025 season. Richard Regan looking for race win number 4 on the year. Reese Bogue to the outside. Sharp, Kalen Hunter, they're in the top 5. They want a crack at it. Green flag back in the air.
What a great jump by Regan down to the dog bank. Got a great jump on his teammate. And you see Jeff Evans up top. You see drivers all across the track here. They know this is their last opportunity, wrecking in the back of the field. That's it. We're done.
Caution is out. This race is over. Sink is into the outside wall. Richard L. Regan Jr. in front at the moment of caution. And Regan, assuming that there are no extracurricular issues that prevent him from going to the end of the race, is going to take home the checkered flag here in Phoenix. And we'll wait on numbers to make it official, but presumably Bradley Hawley will come across the line in a position to fight for this championship as well. He entered the night about 20 points ahead of Reese Bogue. Bogue is 8 points ahead of him in the running order. So again, we'll wait for the math to be official, but presumably you're looking at a Regan win and a Hawley championship until those numbers are official, though. We'll wait to confirm.
We'll wait to confirm. And from that angle, it was kind of hard to tell. I thought what happened looked like maybe a truck just came up. It wasn't clear. And watch it again here. Look at the trucks in the middle. And oh, well, he got bumped by Cowgill. That I missed the first time by. And he went up the track and then got into Thomas Sink. And that's the yellow right there. Well, in a way, this is sort of fitting that you're going to finish the PRL Truck Series with a Richard Regan win. It's pretty fitting, as you said. Richard Regan went on a tear. And in a way, it just feels like from the dominance that Richard Regan's had at times, fitting. I haven't seen most fitting. That could definitely be up for debate, Evan, about what's the most fitting, but a fitting way to end this series. Of course, under caution, not the way we want to do it, but high drama, high intensity. You know, these drivers did not back off. Everybody wanted to win, and overall, a pretty great run tonight.
It is, and you know, for Richard, you would think that maybe a race win to end the season is something that you can spur into some momentum to carry on to the next year. A 4-win season in a 9-race championship, it's got to be momentum building. Aside from the disappointment of it not being a championship conversation for him, and it won't be momentum into the next season, but it'll be bragging rights forever, at least for the current timeline. Will be the final race winner in the history of the PRL Truck Series. Richard Regan Jr., race win number 4 of the season, takes the checkered flag and is victorious at Phoenix.
See all the drivers kind of going through the line here, just finishing in their orders, and we'll go through the orders in just a moment, but see I think there'll be a lot of emotions from a lot of drivers tonight, Evan, we talked to, who are just going to be sad this is over. And I hope in some ways it's a celebration, like it will be for Richard Regan. I'm sure his teammate, Regan Bogue, will come up here, or Reese Bogue, pardon me, will come up here and help him out there. You're right, they're pacing one final time. I thought it was official last time.
2 white flag laps.
How does that work? I don't understand.
The pace truck thought the last lap was the last one because he's done. Pace truck's going home.
Oh, here's what's going to happen. Okay, I understand now what's happened here.
The restart.
Wow. Yeah, iRacing was going to make them restart. The league admins of PRL does not approve of that. They've never let that happen. But technically, iRacing Race Control wanted them to race from basically the restart zone to the line. And so that's why that's not going to happen. But again, congrats to Richard Regan. This is
right. Why not one more memorable moment? One more, just for the. Were you there when The bonus lap at the end, the white flag, the one to go that never was. Fortunately for Regan, he doesn't pull the Mark Martin, and he'll get to celebrating now, as that number 56 machine is your race winner here tonight from Phoenix. And again, waiting official word on who's going to be the series champion. It started the night as Ted Lowendick had a 5-point gap. We knew it was going to be close between he and Bradley Hawley. He was the better truck between those two until he was involved in an accident that had nothing to do with him. He'll end up coming home in this race with the damaged race truck back in 24th position. So the question is, Hawley came into this race 19 points ahead of Reese Bogue. And where they finish in the running order, Hawley comes home in the number 8 position. And in the end, I think you look back for Reese Bogue, that truck was going to be a top truck as well, but I'm being shown that he's down in 23rd. So assuming that that's all correct with the confusion at the end of this race, then that's going to make it a no doubt about her. And I think that's the thought as well for Bradley Hawley behind the wheel as well. Bradley Hawley is celebrating on the front straightaway. He thinks he's done enough to beat the 2025 series champion.
Yeah, and I can say right now, we're going to go through the grid results in a second. They're not going to be right. It's going to be a race control issue with iRacing. This is almost, in a way, it's almost hard to read them because they're not going to be right. I can say Richard Regan won, that's for sure. But there you go. So you see lots of drivers now doing this. Let's walk through these. These are not going to be right, Evan, because iRacing is going to throw some black flags that need to be fixed. Andrew Sharp is first. Mark Kalin second. Austin Hunter is third. Jeff Evans fourth. Daniel Knight, Alex Hillman, Dalton Geyer, Bradley Hawley, Mike Toomer, and Patrick Cowgill round out your top 10.
And you got Jacob Dunn, Steve Loving, Brendan Chatley, Zach Panzarella, and James Morgan through 15th, with Nick Schwartz, Brett Adams, Nick Hunter, Edward Peltz, and Stacy Hunter through P20. Again, all of this pending a review.
Thomas Sink 21st, Richard Regan, Reese Bogue, Ted Lowendick, Kyle Dewey, one lap down. Evan Williams, Kevin McGarvey, Zachary Burnt, Doug Evans, and Sam Smeltzer, your first truck 10 laps down. Then we'll round it out here with your last bit of the field, Evan.
As you look at those drivers in the 30s, again, the one that I want to highlight was Reese Bogue, who you mentioned 23rd, right? He's presumably the other driver in the battle between he and Bradley Hawley. Reese Bogue crossed the checkered flag in P2. Of course, because of the interesting timing of the yellow and the restart that never was, iRacing has penalized him and it put him 23rd on the results that you're looking at. That will be corrected, presumably, to put Reese Bogue in second. Again, is P2 ahead of a P8 for Bradley Hawley, or whatever that number should actually be? Is that enough for Reese Bogue to have made up the 19-point gap between the two of them coming into this race? It seems like that would be unlikely to be the case, with no bonus points going to, I think, either of those drivers for laps led in this one. But again, Bradley Hawley seemed to be pretty sure about it as these drivers have their last couple of moments of fun here on the front stretch.
Yeah, they're just doing a last-minute demo derby. And I thought it was very fitting in that demo derby, Evan, that for all the times in the past 2 seasons that Austin Hunter has flipped his truck in accidents, that his best friend, one of his best friends, Bradley Hawley, helped him pull that off. Well, lots of notes here to check on. I'll go check on the official points if we need to. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Bradley Hawley. Was waiting for Richard Regan and others to maybe join in, but do you want to start and interview our last champion?
Get dialed up on the radio and have a conversation with a man that we think has got enough points to lock it in, and maybe we'll get the official word as we're chatting to him. But let's bring Bradley Hawley into the broadcast booth. And Bradley, you knew coming into tonight that you would need to have something to go your way if this championship was going to end in favor of you and the team. It was a 5-point gap to Ted Lowendick, much of this race chasing him, and then all of a sudden, a yellow flag comes out. You blink, that other truck's damaged, and you find yourself in front in the final 15.
Yeah, that thing with Colton, that was wild. It scared a lot of people. It was unfortunate that Teddy had his bad luck and ended up going 2 laps down somehow, and we couldn't race it out. And the end of the race was a little frustrating also. Just, I was hoping to be able to race it out and have at least one fight left in this race, but wasn't the case.
Well, tell us about the season as a whole. I mean, it's going to end up where you'll have more finishes scoring 40 or more points than anybody else. Of course, you look back to the race win in round number 3 of the season on the streets of Chicago. All of those moments to put you in position to where, you know, when you draw it up in your mind, you don't want to win a championship by being the beneficiary of others' misfortune, but you would never be in that position anyways if it wasn't for all the hard work you guys did through the opening 8 rounds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Staying consistent is always key in a championship, and that's kind of what I was trying to do. I had a couple. I had one bad race. I think it was at Daytona or something, where I finished outside the top 10. But other than that, I mean, me and Teddy we couldn't get away from each other, which was a lot of fun this season. And then I was really hoping the fight was going to come down to the checker flag, but you know, things happen sometimes. It's racing.
What's it been like for you? Obviously, kind of the progression of emotions throughout the year, right? I mean, competing for the championship, being excited to be a part of these on Wednesday nights, to all of a sudden finding out it's your third to last race and second to last race, and now here tonight, last race, at least for now, with this group of drivers in this PRL Truck Series.
Yeah, honestly, it's I'm very disappointed that PRL shut down. I joined back in 2018, and I think 2019 I became an admin and helped Charles with our caution system. So a small part of it is this is my baby also, along with Charles. I know he put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this league, and I put some in too, but not nearly as much as him. But the community that we built over the last 7-8 years, I couldn't have been more proud of. We have had our ups and downs, but along the way, and we've had such a good community of racers, coming and going, coming back, and create some really good memories that I won't ever forget.
Well, one final time, we'll let you have the mic. I know you shouted out a lot of names and a lot of the stories that you'll walk away from this with memories. And again, at least for now, for one final time, Bradley, we see the thank you on the back of your Ford truck this afternoon. Who else do you want to say hi to and thanks to for ending this season on such a high?
I want to thank everybody that's ever been a part of the PRL and making all this possible. I want to thank Mark for doing everything he's done, Nick Hunter, Charles Subner, Jerome, Marco, the two owners of PRL, all my guys in Waterback, and you guys for broadcasting us for the last few years. It's been an amazing journey.
We appreciate the time, Bradley. Congratulations on ending of the highest of highs, and congratulations on a great season. We appreciate all your time, as always. Thanks for everything you've done behind the scenes, and hopefully we catch you again sometime soon.
Thank you very much.
That is tonight's, we think, big winner in the end. Still waiting on the official math of the championship, but what a performance for Bradley Hawley in this one. Derek, if you're around, I think looking to talk to one of our next drivers in this one, and why not hand things off, I suppose, just trying to look at what the running order was actually at the end of the race as we wait on the official results of Richard Regan.
Yeah, we're going to grab Richard Regan and bring in our last PRL truck winner, Richard Regan. Obviously, it's not the ending you probably wanted because you had 4 wins in a 9-week season. It's hard to believe you're not in contention for that title, but congrats on the last win.
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, at Daytona, I had those internet problems, and I already had to use my drop week, so that kind of took me out of contention for the championship. But it's definitely bittersweet getting the win here tonight, and it just sucks knowing PRL is no more after tonight. And I've been here since 2018, and I've been racing with a lot of these guys every week since then, and gonna definitely miss it. And see what happens in the future.
Well, We may not ever see it on a PRL broadcast, but the good news is you get to add one more sticker over there to your left shoulder on the race stickers. But you said you've been around since 2018. I want to ask you, in your own self-reflection, what's changed about you in the past, I guess that's going to be 7 years or so. When you think back to the Richard Regan of 7 years ago who joined PRL, self-reflect for a second. Tell me how you've changed and what's different from someone who would have met you back then.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked anybody that's been around since then, they'll tell you I've changed a lot. When I came into this league, I was 17 years old in college and had just gotten onto iRacing and super aggressive. I was a weapon at times. So if you ask a lot of the people, they'll probably tell you I matured a lot. Something I've been trying to work on, especially the last 2 to 3 years. Trying to be a good leader for a lot of people. So yeah, and I also think that PRL definitely helped me mature as a driver a lot for my real life stuff too. Before, if I would have gotten in a car when I had first joined PRL in real life, it definitely wouldn't have been as good as it was when I got into it when I did. So definitely want to thank everybody over the years, especially Brad. He's been probably my biggest teacher. In terms of maturity, me and him have had our differences, but we've definitely come a long way. And I'd like to give a shout out to Mark, Charles, Jerome, Marco, Nick Hunter, everyone that's put in all that time and effort over the years to manage the PRL and give us a great league to run every Wednesday night and Sunday night. And definitely gonna miss it.
Well, I sometimes believe that public words are better than private words, and I know you and I have had some private words, and I want to tell you that I know, at least in the past 2 years that I've known you, that you've grown a lot, you've changed a lot, and the Richard Regan that races today is a better racer than the Richard Regan who raced 2 years ago, and I want to say that to you publicly so that you can hear those words out loud.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So, one race question, and then we'll let you out of here. It felt like in the beginning of the race you had a hard time taking the lead. You almost had it when that third caution came out, and it seemed like it took a while. Were you just being patient? Was it hard to pass here? What happened?
I don't really think it took a while. We had those 3 quick cautions, and I know Daniel Knight's going to be super fast. Me and him have raced sledging cars, not against each other, but we come from the same background. Same with Reese, so that's why we're all super aggressive. And Reese is still young, so I'm trying to rein him in a little bit. But so I knew it was going to be a hard battle. The dirty air was definitely tough. I did figure out something with the shifting. Normally I never shift here, but I don't think I've ever raced a truck in the day. So I started shifting in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that helped me get past that dirty air bubble quite a bit. And I knew Daniel was going to run me hard, so I kind of had to do a sneak attack on him going into 1. Kind of drove it down underneath him, and he was racing me hard for a good couple laps there, and it was a great battle, nice and clean. And me and him have had our differences in the past as well, so I'd like to just give a shout out to him for running me clean tonight and giving a good show for the fans one last time.
All right, Richard. Well, for one final time, I know you're going to tell me I can't have a cupcake, but I want you to tell me who all you want to give a shout out to and say thank you to for the last time.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Ninasm, Mission 22 State Analyzer, Multiple Sclerosis Society, JZ Photography, everybody on Regenbogen Motorsports over the years. Appreciate every one of you guys, everyone that I've been teammates with in PRL, all the broadcasting guys that have been part of the PRL putting on these races for us, and everyone at PRL for doing all the management stuff and dealing with a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's not fun to deal with, but they stuck with it, and it's, like I said, it's just definitely going to be sad to see it go. Oh, and before I forget, I'd like to give a shout out to my girlfriend Kaylee for letting me run for the last 3 years or 4 years almost that we've been dating every Wednesday night.
There you go. Richard, it's been a pleasure watching you race. Good luck in whatever comes up in the future, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. That's Richard Regan Jr., driver of the number 56 truck, who wins tonight. And then, Evan, I believe you have caught up with second place finisher, RaceSpot.
It's going to end up as quite the successful season for Reese in the end. Again, still waiting on the official points, Reese. It made it close, certainly, with Bradley Hawley in the very end here. In the end, it ends up maybe being that DNS at round number 6 that kind of lessened that cushion for maybe what, is your margin for error. But, I mean, extremely consistent all season long. And another podium finish in the finale has got to feel good as well.
Yeah, I just kind of struggled a little bit in some places, but here at the end definitely seemed to get better, especially after our first last week and second this week. That the no start might have made a big difference. I haven't really looked at points honestly because I kind of knew it was going to take me out of contention, but it definitely would have helped if I started. The only reason I really didn't was because of work and actually being in Daytona that week. So work calls first on that aspect, but yeah, so it's all good there. I may have ended up second or third in championship. Happy about that. I believe RBM got second in team championship. So overall happy about that, especially after a couple of us missing races. But yeah, just happy to end the season off here on a high note with a first and a second. Wish I could have raced a little bit more with Rich there, but starting deep, it took me a little time to get there, and really don't have any time at the end to actually race out for the lead. So it's all good in the end.
Yeah, and you start back, in the number 11 spot, competitive in the run all the way to the end, and you kind of beat me to my next question, the fact that, it's you and your teammate, Richard, finishing 1-2 in this race to lock up that P2 in the championship for the Regan Vogue Motorsports Group, despite some good challenges coming at you from behind by some of the other teams late in the season, to be able to run with your teammate, run well with your teammate, to get a team championship, to get a P2, is what we think it is in the driver standings when it's all said and done. Does that lessen the blow at all as we look to say goodbye to this at the end of the night, or does that almost make it a little bit worse because you guys are having fun and you're being successful on these Wednesday nights?
Well, I wasn't in PRL as long as a lot of these other guys like Brad and Rich there. I think it's only like my second or third year, I would say. I know they've been running, I believe it's 6 or 7 years, however long it is. And definitely, at least this season, kind of come in with a new mindset and kind of just, like I say, taking it easy, but not stressing about every little thing. And it seemed to work out. And then start running up front with these guys last week, this week, and it's like, man, I almost wish I could continue to run with these guys and see where I stack up and keep learning on this. But it's all good. We'll figure something out. Hopefully PRL comes back here soon after a little break, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, just racing with these guys is good. I learned a ton from them, and they're real good. And even though we may not be the quote unquote pros, these guys are real fast and know a lot, and always do well. So it's always cool to run up front with these guys and just like I say, happy to be there, but happy to be a factor in the race as part of it.
Well, I know we've certainly enjoyed watching you, your teammates, the rest of the drivers in this series make things competitive and give us a show to watch. And I'm sure everybody that watches the streams at home appreciates it as well. So, Reese, wanted to say thank you to you as well for everything that you've contributed to this series on the racetrack. We appreciate your time. Again, congratulations on a good result in this race and an incredible result on the season for you and the team.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Like give a little shout out here to everybody at PRL for putting this on. You guys for always streaming it here. Regan Vogue Motorsports, all the drivers over there, everybody that supports us. My Coney Setup Shop, Ryan Newman Associates, everybody that helps support me, and just we really appreciate it. So hopefully we can figure something out here in the near future and continue to race everybody. But until then, we'll see you soon, and thank you guys again.
We look forward to catching you next time. That is your P2 finisher in this one, Reese Vogue, who we think is the number 2 driver in the championship, but of course a part of the team as well. A good showing for the Regan Vogue Motorsports Group, coming home second in the team championship as well. It is the final race of the season, so we got all kinds of drivers lined up. So Derek, I'll give you a dealer's choice on who you'd like to grab next.
Oh gosh, it's a hard choice. I think I'm going to go though with P3 in the race, Andrew Sharp. Andrew, this very unique paint scheme. I was told it was your first paint scheme in the PRL ever. I'll give you a chance to describe it. So I want to say what we talked about in the booth tonight. I called it more of a papyrus racing-esque style paint scheme. Evan Basoko called it a rainbow marker paint scheme. It was something you would have found on an infomercial at 3 in the morning. Tell us the inspiration for the paint scheme.
It's like I call it like a heat map, like one of those like weather like topography heat maps. But I obviously big Jeff Gordon fan, so I was trying to come up with my own like rainbow type livery. So I think rainbow marker is a good description.
So, talk to me about the race tonight. You finished P3. You felt like you were up there all night long. I think the last I looked, you had the fastest lap all night. In fact, you did finish with the fastest lap all night. So, what was the challenges in getting to the front?
I was just struggling. Like I was listening to Richard talk about dropping on the third. I was not doing that. If I did that, maybe I had a better chance. But I just kept getting stuck behind and couldn't get a good enough run heading up to the final straight. So had decent pace. I've been kind of all over the place all season. Started out really strong with a couple of poles, but my race pace has just been awful. So finished strong. Actually had some race pace tonight, so that was a good way to end it.
Of course, your PRL story may be a little different than other people's. You started off on the roadside. Somehow you got the itch about, what, a year and a half ago maybe to come over here and try the oval stuff. You have 2 wins in the oval series, 1 of course on a road course. And what has this PRL journey been like for you?
PRL was the first league that I just magically landed upon a couple years ago. And Mark Kalin used to kick my butt in the MX5s, and then now I'm like qualifying for like the Toyota GR86 Esports League. So big journey for me because I used to be awful on the road, and I've really grown a lot and got really burned out doing all that road stuff. So it's been nice to do the trucks and learn the whole different side here. And so I've had a lot of fun with this group of guys and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun watching you race. Of course, last year you helped us come in with the 24 Hours of Nürburgring into 86. The win, that was a great feeling. But I don't know, the one thing I take away from your PRL journey, you've never quite grown into that racing seat.
All I gotta say is I'm always looking around just because of you're in my head. So don't worry, I'm working on it. Okay, and maybe one day I'll keep growing.
It's good to know rent's free there too. Rent is free. Right there in
Absolutely.
your head. Andrew, it has been a pleasure getting to know you. It's been a pleasure watching your race. Thank you for everything. Is there anyone you want us to give a shout out to, say thank you to one last time?
Thank you to RaceSpot. Thank you to you all. Thank you to all the PRL members, PRL owners, organizers. It's a big group of guys that put this on for no profit and just for the love of it. Big shout out to Rapid Theft Racing, Dave Carroll for always fixing up our setups, and then of course Kyle Dewey for spotting me a lot this season. But other than that, really appreciate it, and going to be sad to see this go. But big things still coming, and we'll be looking forward to the future. Absolutely.
All right, buddy. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for everything, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Have a great night.
All right, that is Andrew Sharp, driver of the 24. You call it the Rainbow Warrior-esque scheme, Evan. Came in at P3 tonight. All right, I'm going to give you a dealer's choice. I think we have a couple left. You can grab our championship runner-up, a league admin, or another driver. It's up to you.
Go Ted Lowendick on this one, and I know it's not the conversation that he thought we would be having at this point. Not that did we think we'd be having at this point. 20 minutes to go in the race. He was in control, and then unfortunately, it was a bad night to have a bad night. We're with Ted Lowendick, who likely ends up as the runner-up in this championship as the dust settles. And Ted, I'll tell you congratulations, because it's certainly deservedly so. I mean, you started the year with a trip to victory lane, one of the most consistent drivers all night long. I want to focus on that first. P24 tonight, probably the worst finish we saw for you all season long. I mean, you guys had an incredible campaign.
Yeah, we did really well as a team. Brad and I, put in solid finishes the whole season. Colton jumped in there when we needed him to, and it was it's a bummer that it finished this way, because it was looking pretty good there, and then maybe it's the number on the side of the truck that just unlucky. But hey, if Johnny Gaudreau could wear the number, then we can too, and he did a lot of great things in this number, so I'm gonna say it's probably not the number, but yeah, just unlucky tonight. But hey, good season, great season. But yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer to finish this way.
Talk about this race and kind of how it all plays out. 20 minutes to go. We're coming off of a pit cycle. You were one of the later trucks to pit, so I kind of want your thought process on that first, as we came through the green flag stretch, and then obviously spinning truck in front of you could have happened anywhere on the racetrack, and it just so happened where it really didn't give you much of an escape route.
Yeah, so I wanted to stay out and lead a lap just to get the bonus point. And then after that, it was well, if we stay out a couple more laps longer, we'll have a little bit of fresher tire. We were doing pretty well on pace just earlier in the race, so I wasn't too concerned about that. And then the truck spun, looked like it was going to go off to the side, and then I think he got hit and he spun back around, and I was like, I got nowhere to go. I'm going to have to go back and look at the footage. I don't know how I became 2 laps down. I don't know why I was told to lead the start of that restart at one point. There's a lot of confusion, but hey, it is what it is.
We talk about the success that you and Bradley have had all year. I mean, 2 wins to represent the team. Whataback Racing was pretty much untouchable at the top of the team standings, and we've been giving everybody an opportunity to share some thoughts and memories on what they'll take away from this experience in this PRL Truck Series. And I think you guys kind of a good beacon for all of that. Competing with good friends, running good with friends, and winning a team championship. You guys were in the conversation and one of the best on any given night.
Yeah, it was. So Joey, Nick, and Nick McLaughlin, and Joey Tebben, we all joined the oval side same time because there was a lot of road courses on when we were racing in the Xfinity car. Or Class B, as it is on iRacing. And we didn't know if we were going to continue doing it, but it was so much fun. And then the Whataback guys kind of absorbed us and took us in, and we kind of learned from them. And then they were just a great group of guys, so we just kept doing it and hanging out and having a good time. And that's what it's all about. Leagues put you in situations where you meet new people that have similar interests. And when you get along with people, you're not just racing, you're having a good time. And yeah, I'm gonna miss it. I mean, I raced in PRL for 6-7 years across different platforms, and it's gonna be a bummer to see it go. We'll see what happens in the future. Hopefully we find something to do. But yeah, I'm definitely saddened by it, but it's not like the people are going anywhere. We're still gonna hang out and do stuff. So yeah, but I hope you guys had a great season. Hope you guys had a fun time tonight, other than the start was a little rough there. But yeah, thank you guys for everything. I want to say thank you to the PRL for the last 6, 7, 8 years of my life. It's been fun. Having something to look forward to each week. And everybody at Whataback, everybody at Soulpeck Precision Racing. Great groups of guys all around. And yeah, we'll see what happens in the future.
Well, I think equally so. There's a lot of people who will say the same thing to you as well. They appreciate you being a part of this. I know we certainly do. There'd be no sense of us showing up on a Wednesday night to stream these races if there wasn't competitive and talented drivers like yourself, like your teammates, like the rest of the field on track. So we appreciate you guys being a part of this, making this series what it is. Putting on a show and always being very gracious with your time. So, Ted, we'll let you get out of here. But again, just want to say thanks on behalf of our entire group over here, and best of luck. Hopefully, we'll catch you down the road sometime soon.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Dustin. Thanks you, Derek. It's been a fun season, and look forward to hearing from you guys in the future, hopefully.
Ted Lowendick, who comes home second in the Drivers' Championship, but Derek on top of the Team Championship with Whataback Racing.
Yeah, a great run, all things considered. And it's a theme you're going to hear for the last couple of interviews, Evan. You can just hear the emotions in the interviews tonight. And I think one of the more unique stories that caught my attention when I first when I first got started in the PRL was the relationships and the bonds. And no bond is probably thicker than a brotherhood. So let's talk to both Austin and Nick Hunter. Very different races tonight, very different seasons possibly. Austin, you almost got away tonight without getting flipped over until the post-race demo derby. So I'll start with you. How was the race tonight as a whole?
Honestly, way better than I expected. This last year and a half, I've had some of the worst runs I've ever had in PRL. As you bring up, I think I've almost been on my lid more than I've been on my wheels, and so actually finishing my PRL career with the top 5 really means a lot. And great way for me to finish everything out.
So I shared in a broadcast, but I wanted to kind of let you talk about it for a second. You sent me a text today with a picture of the paint scheme and said, "This is my paint. It's a throwback. It's an alternate to Brad's scheme. It's a tribute to the quote unquote mistake I made by inviting Brad into the PRL."
Yeah, so I've actually known Brad since high school. I think I was 16 whenever Brad and I met. Him and I used to work at a go-kart track together. Once we stopped working there, we stayed friends, raced real karts together, done a lot. So when he got iRacing, he was, one of the first people I wanted to bring on, and him and I were teammates, and both being from Houston and from Texas, he got to bring out the Whataburger paint, and so that's kind of where Whataback was born, from the Whataburger and Back Row Racing, the four of us of Tom, Colton, me, and Brad, and so I had to go old school with the Whataburger paint for one last ride.
And Nick, a different night for you. Unfortunately, involved in one of the cautions and kind of a rough night.
I was the caution, yeah. Yeah, what a great way to end my night. My goal was just to really cross the line tonight, and it happened. And so, deep down, I wanted everyone to actually cross the line and to have that closing sense of a family and togetherness and just a proper send-off for those who, like I said, I wish that survived.
So I'm going to ask each of you now, a lot of us, whether it be through broadcasting, through racing, through whatever you have, you make bonds and friendships that last a long time. But you two have the bond that goes well beyond the league, your brothers. What is it like racing with your brother? Of course, Austin, I remember when you pushed Nick to the Super Speedway win. What are those moments like for each of you?
It means a lot. Honestly, it's kind of revamped Nick and I's relationship after all these years. Him and I did used to work together. I used to be his manager at one point in life.
I'm
even
sure
though
that
he's
went
the
well.
older brother.
Oh, this was at the go-kart track, so it's fine.
Yeah. Talk about mayhem. So when he got iRacing, I wanted him to come join us and hang out. And I knew he would get along with everybody, and so it really means a lot that he's here, and especially hanging out with him so much, and our brother from another mother, Stacy. So it's been good times.
Nick,
What
for
I
you-
remember, I was gonna say what I remember is the first time that Austin got iRacing, and he was showing me on his laptop, and I had no idea, just, outside of consoles or whatever, in arcades, the whole rig setup and whatnot. And so he had a cheapo laptop and the basic, what was it, the old G25 Logitech or whatever. And I remember him clamping it down to a desk while we're at work, by the way. This is the stuff we would get away with. But and he was showing me that, and I thought it was the craziest thing. And then years later, back in 2019, when he was inviting me to race with Brad, because I knew Brad a little bit too, not as well as Austin did, but I kind of already had a sense of what I was getting into. But there's nobody else I would have raced with, let it be my actual family, my brother, or my extended family. Everybody in Whataback who's ever been in Whataback and who's ever left it, they're still family to me. So
What was
him
that
pushing me
moment?
across the line, it
Yeah.
was wonderful.
Yeah, I bet it was. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure getting to know both of you and kind of calling the races with you guys and being a part of it. So I'm going to let each of you go first. I'll start Austin. We'll go alphabetical. Anyone you want to say thank you to, give a shout out to, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. As Patrick put in his stats, I'm the longest active member in PRL at 11 years. So that's definitely something. Just a lot of people to thank along the way. I joined this league back before Jerome even owned it. And all the teammates that I've had along the way, the ones we've had, the ones we've lost. I want to make sure to give a special shout out to my boy John Labath. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
As well as CM Pennington and some of the others in PRL that we've lost along the way. Thank you to you guys. Y'all have done such a wonderful job. Derek, I love to chat with you and hang out, and Evan, you as well. It's been great, even though I haven't got many interviews with you, but it's been great to have you along the way. Just thanks to everyone, and it's something I'm never gonna forget. 11 years gone, lasted longer than my marriage, but my PRL history. But so, thank you guys for everything. Really means a lot.
Nick?
Oh, geez. I can't thank everybody enough
that's been a part of the PRL. Let it be you guys at RaceSpot. I mean, you, Derek, just the friends we've met. Um, it's been a wild ride. I mean, I haven't been here as long as Austin, but just the ups and downs that we've all experienced, it is bittersweet. And like how Austin mentioned John LaBath on my scheme. I don't know if you talked about it or not, but we had this inside joke, or at least Austin did, between him and LaBath, that on the back bumper, when Austin would pass John LaBath, he would just say, "Hi, John," and then he would go right by. So to have that on the back bumper at one point, not knowing who LaBath was, and then building that relationship, I miss the guy. I wish he participated with us, and naturally CM too. A lot of these drivers I wish were participated tonight. Track wasn't big enough, but I wish everybody was here.
All right, well, I will repeat what Evan said a moment ago to others and to Ted, which is, we appreciate the shout outs and the thank yous, but it's double sided, because for you guys, it's thank you to you guys for doing this. I mean, Evan and I are great talkers. We could definitely talk to ourselves about nothing if we had to, but you guys have come in here for years upon years and put on great shows and wins and exciting moments and exciting interviews. So it goes back to you guys as well. But I'll end with a thought that really stuck in my mind, which is I'm sad PRL is ending, because I think we got the new tagline, PRL, it lasts longer than marriages.
Yikes. It was funny is then, because I got married right before I joined iRacing, so I can't brag about that. Dang.
No, you can't, but I saw a t-shirt. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I want to hijack that one. And I want to say thank you to my wife for putting up with me all these weeks, especially when I crash out. She's been up there in my highs and lows. I want to thank her and my family. Just, I know she would kill me if I didn't say anything on this interview.
All right, guys. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. I'm sure we'll talk soon. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks so guys. Much, and thanks to Brendan Chatley too.
All right, that's Austin and Nick Hunter. And I think, Evan, you're going to get the pleasure of rounding out with one of the league admins. It's time to bring in Mark Kalin for his final thoughts.
Well, to your point about us being good talkers, I took the time while you guys were talking about things that the PRL has lasted longer than, and I have some additions to make to that list. Okay, so the PRL has lasted longer than Blackbeard's Reign of Terror, of course, the world-famous pirate, as well as the Empire of Alexander the Great. Those are all things that did not last the same amount of time. So that's my contribution to that part of the conversation, Derek.
You really brought the life to the party there, didn't you?
You know, I like some history things, so I thought that was a fun way to tie that in. Can't speak on marriages. That's a one and done. I can't top that one. But I'll bring you into this conversation as well as we bring Mark Kalin into the booth. Mark, we appreciate you sticking around late into this one. Plenty of drivers. We're sharing stories and memories and fun times. And I know you wanted to have a chance to join us, and equally so, we wanted to have you up here before we sign things off. And I'll just kind of give you the floor, man, on what this season, what this league has been, and as it all encapsulates here tonight with the final race of the championship.
Well, Evan, I really appreciate it. You and Derek and Dustin for giving me the time to come up here and just say a few kind words. Yeah, and to touch on your point of sharing memories, I mean, that's what's made this league so special for so many people. Just throughout the years, all these wonderful friendships and relationships have just really just blossomed over the years. I mean, I've been a part of the PRL for 15 years. So it hurt when I heard the news, because I mean, this is like a family to me. So I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you to RaceSpot for all their hard work, dedication, amazing broadcast. To the crew, Evan, Derek, you guys are just wonderful commentators, and I can't wait to listen to y'all commentating somewhere else or something else. And Dustin being an awesome producer, as well as Hugo, just amazing work from all you guys over there at RaceSpotTV. And I need to give another shout out to the PRL owners, Jerome and Marco. Without this league, I mean, I never would have met any of these people. I mean, it wouldn't have been what it is today without those two leading the charge. And then another shout out to Charles. He basically was the brainchild behind the Oval Series. Charles Sumner, that is. And he managed all the Oval Series stuff for many years before I took over the reins as manager of the Oval Series from him when he decided to take a step back. And it really came along quick how difficult and tasking it can be. Trying to make everybody happy, please everybody, make sure everything's fair and fun. It's stressful, but it was completely worth it. I probably wouldn't change too many things over the last several seasons or years. But I want to give a huge shout out to Charles for all his hard work and dedication with him in the Oval Series. My team, Brad Hawley and Nick Hunter, for their hard work and dedication for their many seasons in the PRL Truck Series as admins. And then I want to thank all the drivers of the PRL Truck Series. I mean, we got a great group of guys. None of us are professional drivers, and even though it may seem like we think that sometimes, you got to do a reality check and just say, hey, we're here to have fun, but also stop wrecking so much. But it's just a fun place for people to get together week in and week out and just kill time and have fun racing, doing something that they're passionate with. But the biggest group of people that I got to give thanks to are the fans out there watching at home, wherever you might be in the world. If you ever tuned into a PRL truck race or PRL road course race of any kind, thank you guys for watching and sticking by our sides for all these years. I just, it means a lot to me personally that everybody has contributed in whatever way they have. And so it's just going to be really difficult moving forward with this being the final PRL truck race. I think there might be something that we're going to try and do to keep the group together, but I don't have anything set in stone at the moment. So it's just, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, especially when I first got the news a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was difficult. I went up and talked to my wife about it, and she was just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, not really." But
Not really, no.
yeah,
So,
we'll get past it.
A common theme tonight amongst all the interviews that Evan and I have done now has been about camaraderie and friendship, and you kind of touched upon it a bit in what you said, but talk about a second. I mean, obviously being part of Whataback Racing for a while and then Buster's Buds and the different stuff. I mean, the stuff you guys do outside of iRacing is almost as important as within iRacing, right? I mean, you guys hang out lots of times, you play video games together, the NCAA football games, the fantasy football leagues. Talk about how that's important and how that's sort of strengthened the bond, in your opinion, of the PRL.
Yeah, it's just all the games that we play outside of iRacing have really brought us closer together. We've gotten to know each other so well over the years. I mean, we go to different races. We try to plan at least one or two, trips a year to meet up and go to a racetrack, whether it be NASCAR, IMSA, whatever. And we try to get as many people to go as possible. It just and on that basis, me and a few of the guys are planning on going to Charlotte in April for the drag races there. But yeah, I mean, it's just it makes the way things came together that much more special. Like I wouldn't have this group of friends that I have now without the PRL. And we're all passionate to the max about racing. I mean, we show it out there on track every race. But we're also very passionate and I can't think of the correct word, but we all have the same common interests in different video games outside of racing as well, whether it be football or a first-person shooter or whatever the case may be. And so we have things like that to keep us together, keep us hanging out with each other over the internet. And interestingly enough, if it wasn't for the PRL, when I got married, I'm sorry, not when I got married, when I first met my wife, I'm gonna get smacked for this, 9-10 years ago, something like that. Turns out Patrick Cowgill, and we didn't know this for at least a year and a half of racing together. Patrick Cowgill is my wife's cousin, so we ended up meeting that way, and so I've driven up to his house, and we hung out with the family and gotten to know them, and then oh shoot, what was the other one?
Well, I think Mark was at your wedding, right? Or not? You are Mark. I'm sorry. Try it again.
I hope I was at my wedding.
I forgot your name. Brad was at your wedding, right?
Yeah, Brad was at my wedding. Brad was in my wedding. Tom Sink was in my wedding. Baron Hilton. I asked him to be in my wedding and met through the truck series as well, but he was unable to make it. Same with Charles. And I was also in Brad's wedding, as was Jeff, Nick, and Austin. I mean, we're very close knit group of guys, and I do anything for them, and I appreciate all of them, and it means a lot that you can make these kinds of friendships and memories through something like a video game. You know,
simulator.
Call it what you want. Game, simulator. It's on a computer.
I know. Well, listen, it has been nothing but a pleasure. I had the honor of calling your win last season on the fuel strategy. It's been an honor getting to know you. Thank you for everything you've done for the PRL. I'm sure we'll talk soon. Mark Kalin, one last time, thank you for everything.
Thank you, Derek, and thank you guys for everything. I wish you all out there watching on the broadcast, up there in the booth, the best of luck in the future, whatever it may hold. And for one last time, I'm just going to say, keep it clean, keep it green. My little pep talk for the truck guys.
There you go. That is Mark Kalin. One last time, Mark, thanks for everything. And I think that wraps up our interviews for the evening, Evan.
Well, big thanks to everybody for giving us the time post-race to come in and chat and share stories. And, part of the byproduct of getting to work with many different broadcasters and series and this and that and over so many years is, you get opportunities to be little parts of this community. And, in my case, having limited time with the folks over here at the PRL, but have enjoyed being invited to join you, Derek, on the team. And obviously the connection that you and everybody has as kind of a larger collective has been good to be a part of. And I think that stands out with everybody wanting to come in and, give some stories and some thanks. And I'll kind of echo those as well, right? We've said thank you to the drivers, but I also appreciate being a part of this series. Thank you to RaceSpot for allowing me to do it. Appreciate the PRL guys for being so welcoming. As I've slowly learned all the different drivers and names and a bit of the history here and there. And to their point, there's a ton of talent in this truck series. And even the PRL broader, right? So many different series. A lot of these drivers will compete in multiples of them. But there's so much talent in this league. And I'm excited to see, well, I think it is a net loss for the service to lose the PRL. That talent's not just going to disappear, right? These drivers are going to find places to land. They're probably going to do their very best to land together, which is an exciting thing to hear. And I'm excited to see whatever and wherever they all land, to see them on track again next time. So I will end my part of the show here. And again, just repeat that I'm thankful to have been a part of this. And we appreciate all the drivers and the admins and everybody for the hours and hours of work on the administrative side, certainly that goes in behind the scenes that if you've never ran a league, you'll never know all that extra effort. So I'm thankful to have been a part of it, Derek, and I'll hand things off to you to close us out.
Well, first off, thank you to you. You and I have talked enough to know that I think you're just the best at what you do for lead commentary, and you're easy to work with. It's fun. It's exciting. It's thank you first off to you. Thank you to Dustin Allis, who's produced many of, if not all, but at least many of my 7 seasons of the PRL Truck and what used to be the Grand National Series, and it's been a pleasure working not only those, but working the F3, F4 series, the prototype nights, back when there was a Cup series, and working all those series of PRL has allowed me to create bonds and friendships just as a commentator that just never would have thought was possible. So let me take a moment and say thank you to names I can remember: Justin Prince, Dylan Coyle, Joey Tebbin, Joe Peak, Brad Dalton, Corey Insing, and all the others whose names I can't remember who's filled in the booth at one point or another. The talent, the time, the effort that you give is felt in every broadcast we do. It's just an amazing, amazing experience. I've made so many friends. Many of them come in and talk tonight. Many were not able to come in and talk tonight, and I appreciate it. It's my Tabula Rasa teammates, James Morgan and Jacob Dunn. Each of them have a win in PRL history, and I'm extremely proud of them. I'm proud of everyone who's driven in this league. But tonight, Richard Regan scores another victory, and Bradley Holly is your last season champion. Typically, this is the point where we stop and tell you where we're going next week, but there is no next week, and that's the most difficult part of this broadcast. So for one final time, on behalf of Dustin Allis, our producer, on behalf of Evan Pasoko, I am Derek Watson, saying thank you, so long, and goodbye to the PRL.